I mean, Soros actually, he is, I believe, the top contributor to the Democratic Party. The second one was Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
So, and Soros, I don't know. I mean, he had a very difficult upbringing, and in my opinion, he fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization. Getting DAs elected who refuse to prosecute crime. That's part of the problem in San Francisco and LA and much of other cities. So why would you do that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're doing deep dives. They're short deep dives, but we're still doing deep dives. So I need you to smack the like button. I need you to smack that and smack it hard. Smack it immediately. And keep smacking it. People think because the videos are shorter don't mean they need to be a short bus. Yeah. The shorter the video gets, the earlier people get on the short bus. Yeah. Stay behind in the video. Stay with me. Stick with me. Hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all the supervillains aren't quite so dang on super. Yeah, everybody we thought to be a supervillain is not as super as we thought they were. Check this one out. Before it was shuttered, USAID routed funds to Soros-aligned causes, terrorists, and blank queens. Before Donald Trump administration closed USAID's doors, the agency regularly routed funding to causes aligned with George Soros' nonprofit empire, terrorists, and blank. The agency came under scrutiny from the new administration over failures to ensure transparency in its fundings to organizations across the globe and concerns that leadership was not responding to explicit policy directives from the State Department and the wider executive branch to align its programs with Trump's policies, in the U.S. national interest. In recent days, the Trump administration identified USAID's programs ranging from contraceptives for Afghanistan, LGBTQ diversity programs in European countries as clear evidence that foreign aid needed to be paused and reevaluated, a task that fell to Rubio's State Department. The development agency for years also funneled money to several nonprofits that also received substantial backing from components of George Soros' empire. Some previously came under scrutiny during the Obama administration for democracy promotion and judicial reform efforts in European countries that critics claim promoted leftist policies. For example, U.S. government spending records show that the East-West Management Institute, which is in part backed by Soros' Open Society Foundations, received more than $260 million over the years in grants from USAID, among other things, promote the rule of law in Georgia, strengthened civil societies in Uganda, and advanced Serbia's accession talks with the European Union. The same nonprofit came under scrutiny during the Obama administration after Judicial Watch uncovered government records and communications showing that the East-West Management Institute Justice for All campaign in Albania received $9 million in funding from USAID. Hold on. What you're trying to tell me is that the United States federal government was in partnership with George Soros. Where's his picture? Where is his picture? I want his picture. Where is his picture? They was in partnership with George Soros. Yeah. So they putting up some of the bread, and George is putting up some of the bread. They were supplementing what he was doing. Yeah, that's what you're saying to me. That's what this all. Woody, don't be getting on the short bus right now, Woody. Let me explain something to you, Woody. I got to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm still trying to parse the data for the long video, dog. I'm still trying to parse the data of all them payments that it was making. Don't get on the short bus and mess up my reach, dog. Stay on the video. I told y'all I was going to do y'all a long video on I'm parsing the data. It's millions of data sets. My computer going slow, and you won't get on the short bus. Stay on the long bus. Stay on the long bus. That's what this article was saying, is that the United States government was subsidizing what George Soros was doing with Open Society's foundations. Yay. That's what they're saying. A House Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Brian Mass, Republican of Florida, also flagged other examples. USAID funding, including $15 million for condoms sent to the Taliban. We heard about that, and $3 million for LGBTQ in the Caribbean. The government watchdog overseeing the agency also warned the USAID leadership is stinging January memo that it had created serious vulnerabilities by doling out billions of tax dollars to overseas countries and groups without fully vetting for terrorists. In one egregious example, the Syrian national was charged by the Justice Department last year for diverting more than $9 million worth of humanitarian aid paid by USAID to designated terrorist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda in Iraq. So, here's what's happening. Your tax dollars, my tax dollars are going funding terrorism and all kinds of other nefarious things all over the world. I mean, all over the world. And this is just one of the things being exposed. Now, I saw something interesting here that I need to go look at. And I just want to see, where did the name of that organization go? Boom, funnel, bang, boom. Boom, government records. Boom, bang, boom, boom, bow. That's not it. Boom, bang, Judicial Watch. I haven't been there in a while. Let's see what's going on Judicial Watch. Let's see what they're saying, because they should have a lot to say. They should have a lot to say. Read now. They should have a lot to say. Let's see what their weekly updates. Corruption Chronicles. Security Administration fraudulently awards dead people over $31 million in a few months. Yeah, that's definitely going to be taking a look at. Read now. Wait. They got the Mar-a-Lago raid report. This came out January 28th. What? What is this? What is this? Freedom of Information Act, Judicial Watch, this requester, Freedom of Information Act. There ain't nothing on this damn thing. Is all that redacted? Everything is redacted? FBI and DHS have observed an increase in threats from federal law enforcement. What? To federal law enforcement's lesser extent. Other law enforcements. I'm sorry, went down a rabbit hole. Increase observed violence, calls for attacks against federal law enforcement. Some of these threats are specific, identifying, posing target tactics and weapons. Violent extremist ideologies, identifying a person on or online. Specific details about seeking or claiming religious, political, or ideological justification. This is defining how they decided who was a radical. Increases in observed violence and calls for attacks against federal law enforcement, judicial, and government personnel. Past behaviors. A body of court documents and press reporting reveals several observable behaviors that may indicate radicalization or mobilization to violence by DVEs. What is a DVE? Control F. DVE. All right, let's find. This is the first mention of DVE. Many of these threats include references to perception that 2020 presidential election was fraudulent, oh my lord, and other claims that the government overreach, which are narratives that have mobilized DVEs in the past to commit acts of violence, oh my lord. These are the documents when they were classifying people as threats and how they classify domestic violent extremists. That's what a DVE is. Oh my Lord. Wait. The FBI and DHS are aware of increasing recent threats and calls for violence against federal law enforcement, U.S. government, and judicial personnel in reaction to the FBI's execution of search warrants in Palm Beach, Florida. These developments highlight the heightened threat since 2020 by domestic. This is when, wow. Okay. Past behavior. So this is how they decided if you were a DVE. A body of court documents and press reporting reveals several observable behaviors that may indicate radicalization and mobilization to violence by DVE. It is important to emphasize that many of the mobilization indicators may also relate to constitutionally protected activities. Bro, these people, wow. Just wow. It is important to look critically and contextually at the specific actions of an individual and their intent. Law enforcement actions should never be taken solely based on constitutional protected activities, on the apparent or actual race, age, ethnicity, national origin, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or gender identity of the subject, or any combination of these factors. Individuals are encouraged to contact law enforcement if, based on these indicators and situational context, they suspect an individual is mobilizing to violence or engaging in violent extremist activities. Identifying in person or online specific details of an intended violent activity, including targets, time frames, and participant roles. Seeking or claiming religious, political, or ideological justification or validation for planning a violent attack. Unusual purchases, communicating directly with or seeking to develop relationship with violent extremists. Unusual efforts to obtain explosives, blah, blah, blah. We encourage the use of unclassified information sharing system, eGuardian, for reporting. What is eGuardian? eGuardian. eGuardian. What is eGuardian? So this is the FBI. Download. eGuardian System is a web-based platform where federal and state can collaborate. How we investigate. So they was telling people to snitch on people. Yeah. They was telling you to snitch on people. Yeah, that's what they were saying, snitch. Hold on, let me go back. Where my document went? Suspicious activity reports, which are SARs. eGuardian is accessible via the law enforcement enterprise portal. So they were telling law enforcement to report anybody to the FBI who met this criteria of a DVE. Now, what the hell has got to do with the Mar-a-Lago raid? I guess this is after they raided Mar-a-Lago, people got pissed off, so they started designating people as DVEs. That's wild, dog. That's crazy.